Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream and welcome to the home of the world champions. That's right. The world champions get the badge in. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Make sure you're smashing up the like, subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. We have got plenty to dive into as always in today's show. All the latest on Nicolas Jackson with more updates from him last night in regards to his future. Links to Alejandro Garnacho refuse to go away, and he remains an option for Chelsea if they look to add another attacker in the window. We've got updates on expectations for next season. Updates on the front of shirt sponsor, stadium news. There's been an inquiry now made for Jorrel Hato. We've got an update on Christopher Nkunku as well, with Chelsea not in a rush to offload him, reportedly. So there is loads and loads to dive into, guys. Packed show coming up. But before I say hello to any of you lot, just a quick reminder, as always, make sure you check out Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off. Great quality, affordable prices. Make sure you're looking fresh for the upcoming season. Names, numbers, patches, whatever you want on the back. Get the badge in. And yeah, make sure you check it out, guys. Jersey's FC Soccer Shop, link in the description. Smash the likes. And yeah, make sure you check it out. Jersey's FC Soccer Shop, use code BLUEBROTHER, 20% off. That's enough about that, because you lot don't want to hear me bang on about kits. What you want to hear is transfer news. But let's say hello to you lot. No to Garnacho, fair enough. Keep Garnacho away. Keep Garnacho away. Yeah. Just get Hato deal done and don't mess around. Fair enough. 7 goals and 6 assists for a shitty United side last season is comparable to all our wingers. Yeah, look, there is a trail of thought, and I'll get into it a little bit later on, where how much of it is Garnacho's ability and how much of it is just United being a shit environment to play in. Because how many times do we see players leave United and go on and do much more elsewhere? We see it quite regularly. This is not me endorsing the move, but I think it's a fair conversation to have. Yes, big up. Day 5 of 1,140 being world champs. Yes, big up. Yes, big up to all the Chelsea fans out in Singapore. Big yourselves up. Isak to Chelsea, bro. We can all dream. It's free to dream, but yeah, I somehow don't think that's going to be happening, unfortunately for us. But it's free to dream. I actually don't know. I went to the Chelsea mega store yesterday afternoon. £7, got it printed on the shirt. I don't know if they're doing that online. I don't know if... I'm sure they've got a Nike store in Singapore. If you go into Nike, they might do the badge there. I don't know. You'd have to ask. But yeah, I don't know where you can get it. Selling Jackson will be a mistake, in my opinion. Yet we're going to get into that. Chances of selling Jackson, I think, are pretty slim unless he pushes for the move and decides that he wants to leave. Rodrigo, I think there's virtually no chance. Yeah, bro, to be fair, it is quite big. It is quite big, I can't lie. Can you get the club on the front of shirt on Chelsea Megastore? Do you mean on the Megastore website? I mean, I went into the shop. I don't know what the situation is on the Chelsea website. I would have thought there'd be an option in the drop down to select it, but it might just be. I don't know. I don't know if it's a sleeve badge, the one on the Megastore shop, or if they mean the one on the chest. I actually don't know, but you can definitely get it in the shop. Yes, it's decent, yeah. Big up, yes, brother. Smash the likes, people. You lot know what to do. Run up these likes. Anyway, let's get into the show then. And let's start with the Alejandro Garnacho stuff. Because those links They were there in January. We didn't make a move. They were there. They've been there throughout the summer. And they are once again there still. This is Romano in a YouTube video last night. The name of Garnacho remains one of the options available for Chelsea because he wants to stay in the Premier League. So Chelsea are aware of this situation, but as of today, still not submitting any official bid or starting any talks. So Garnacho's preference, is to remain in the Premier League. Okay, so that really leaves Chelsea, Aston Villa. I'm not really seeing any other clubs that are coming in for him other than Chelsea and Villa. Those would be the main two. Those would absolutely be the main two for him. I don't really know where I stand with this. It's just a bit of a vibe ruiner, isn't it? It is a little bit of a vibe ruiner. And by the way, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but the fact, chat, that these rumours are just refusing. They're just refusing to go away. They're refusing to go away. I mean, look. He's a kid. He's 20 years old. No one knows what he can become and how good he's going to become. But I think we have to be honest here. If we're looking at the current version of Garnacho, I'm not a fan of it. Off-the-field behaviour is poor. Brother is an unnecessary issue that we don't need. You know, I think it's just something that we should be looking to avoid on all costs, given how hard we've worked to get a good vibe in the dressing room and get rid of bad characters over the last few years. You would risk upsetting that potentially by bringing Garnacho in. It just feels like it's a vibe ruiner. And the problem is, though, right, chat, there probably is a decent player in there. His profile is not that bad, but he's going to cost you 50, 60 million pounds. We'd be helping United out financially. His attitude is poor, and his entourage and his representatives are an absolute fucking nightmare. So when you factor all those things in, guys, you got to look at it and think, this is an absolute no. This is an absolute no. I mean, is there any chance that we could see? I mean, this was reported in the I paper yesterday. Is there any? Because we heard it talks about potentially with Nkunku. Is there any chance? I mean, I still think this is very slim. But could we look at a Nicolas Jackson Garnacho swap deal? I mean, that would just be fucking mad. That would just be mad, and it would be absolutely outrageous, chat. It would be absolutely outrageous. It really would be. I mean, what the fuck is that about? We do. What I would say is, right. What I would say is, chat. We do need another option on the left wing. We do. Now, I'm not saying that we should be going for Garnacho, but another option on the left wing is required. But you look at the names that we're linked with. I mean, I'm not saying we're not serious, but the issue... Oh, look, we don't know where Garnacho is on this list of targets, by the way, chat. We don't know where he is on the list. But the fact that he's constantly mentioned every single time is a bit of a problem. Yeah, no, it does. It is. Look, the numbers are comparable with our wingers. I don't think there's any denying that. I don't think there's any denying that. I don't know. Look, if Chelsea are looking to get him, then they must think that he suits the system. I mean, I don't think we're going to be that stupid and get people who don't suit the system. I'd like to think we're a little bit past that. I don't know. I still don't know where I sit on the likelihood of this happening. But what I would say is, I'm not sure if it's particularly good news that the links just refuse to go away, that the links are just constantly there. We're not going to get Yildiz. But Scott makes a good point here as well, right? How many times have we written off players that have been scouted? How many times have we written off potential signings, right? And they've gone elsewhere and done really well, or they've come to Chelsea and they've done well. Maybe the scouting team, the directors and whatnot, have perhaps earned a little bit of trust. And I think that's a fair thing to say. So if we do end up going with Garnacho, maybe they have earned some trust. Maybe they've earned some trust. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, there's an Argentinian link. Enzo and Garnacho, both from Argentina. I mean, I don't know if he's spoken to him about coming to Chelsea or not. I've got no idea. No, Garnacho, not really. He could probably play both sides, but he's not going to give you anything down the middle or in the number 10. Yeah, look, I think it's an important point to remember as well, that if you didn't know, if you just saw his numbers and his data and you didn't know the name attached to it, you'd look at that and you'd think, yeah, do you know what? That isn't a bad signing. But you cannot overlook, unfortunately, attitude and baggage that a player brings. Because unless you're an exceptional talent and what you bring on the pitch outweighs the issues that you cause off it, then that is a big problem. That is a big problem. There's no denying that. Yeah, Dura and Barcola are two players that we were linked with that, you know, myself at the time, I said I was a bit unsure about it. And a lot of Chelsea fans kind of looked down on that and kind of shit on those when we were linked. Look, I'm by no means am I banging the drum for Garnacho to come to Chelsea, but what I am saying is that there is potentially a point to be made that in a better environment, he could do better. Now, I'm not saying that Chelsea is the environment to be testing that out in, but what I would say is don't be surprised when Garnacho leaves United and wherever he ends up going, if he ends up being significantly better than what he was at United. You know, there are a lot of players that we've looked down on. You know, the directors have made a lot of mistakes. But they've also got things right as well. And so it's only fair to praise when they've got things right. And it's also fair to criticize when they've got things wrong. You know, bro, you've got to, yeah, I agree to an extent, but you've got to be bringing serious performances to the pitch. You've got to be bringing serious performances to the pitch. Yeah, look, I think there's definitely something to be said of the fact that the environment at United is shit, and it's difficult for players to thrive there. I think that's definitely a fair angle to come from it at. No, there's no soft launch. I'm not for this move. I'm just trying to have a balanced conversation about it. I'm just trying to have a balanced conversation about it. I by no accounts am I saying that I'm here for this move. The problem we've got is, right, chat, is that nowadays all these targets are basically going to be in and around the 50 to 60 million pound mark. That seems to be the market for these kind of players. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. So whether we like it or not, if you're going to go and get another player, then an attacker, that is the sort of price that you're going to be paying, between 50 and 60 million pounds. Whether we think that's good value for money or not is not really, is neither here nor there. That is what the market rate is. So whatever attacker we are looking to bring in, chat, that's the price that you're going to be looking at, really. I mean, some of them might be a bit north of 60. I think you're looking at Eze, for example, would be north of 60 million because of the release clause. I think if you're looking at a Morgan Rogers, it's going to be north of 60 million as well. No, it's not. And I think that's a fair thing to say as well. Let's see. Yeah, agreed. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Bro, Garnacho is better than George. Let's be real here. Let's not be silly now. Garnacho is better than Tyreek George. Yeah, Ekitike is expensive and he wants to go to Liverpool. The only way that Ekitike would have made sense for us, chat, the only way Ekitike would have made sense for us is if Jackson was sold. But Ekitike is now sorted with Liverpool. You know, he's now sorted with Liverpool and they agreed terms on a 6-year deal. They just need to agree a fee now. They need to agree a fee with Eintracht Frankfurt, but everything else is agreed. So that's another one there. I mean, let's just bring a little bit of an update from Ben Jacobs on the whole Garnacho thing as well, because there's been an update from him in regards to Garnacho Jackson. This is more of an Aston Villa angle. Bro, George is not the reason we finished top 4. You know, he scored an important goal against Fulham to level it. But let's not pretend that George is the sole reason we finished in the top 4. Come on. Yeah, Garnacho would... I think Garnacho on the list of attackers is our last option, for sure. Yes, big up, brother. Big up. No, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you. Congratulations, bro, on the engagement. Big yourself up, brother. Thank you for the kind words. And yeah, big up to you, bro. Bro, Vega's not staying though. That's the issue. That's the point here. Vega doesn't want to be a left back. Vega wants to play centre back, and he's not going to get that chance at Chelsea. Therefore, he needs to leave. Therefore, he's got to go. Unfortunately. You know, bro, we don't. The problem is though, we don't know that. We don't know that. I mean, with the way it turned out, we would have finished top 4 anyway with what happened in the last game of the seasons. But we don't. I don't think we don't need that position. We don't need that position that MGW plays. That's not a sort of position that we're lacking in. But anyway, with Ben Jacobs' update here, Aston Villa are one of the Premier League clubs considering Garnacho. A left-sided attack is a key priority for Emery. Garnacho's preference to stay in the Premier League, and he's also been on Chelsea's radar this summer. Jackson, another name considered by Villa. Chelsea not forcing Jackson out, but could consider bids. Meanwhile, Chelsea retain an interest in Morgan Rogers, even though Villa consider him untouchable. Jackson has also been discussed by Milan and United. No approach from either club to date. I don't know if we did know, but I don't know if we did know that. I don't know if we did know that. Look, it can't be ruled out, by the way. It can't be ruled out, but I would be surprised, even by our standards, if we told Vega we were signing him as a centre-back and then he rocked up and he was suddenly playing left-back, I'd be very surprised if that was true. I know we've got previous to that sort of thing, but I'd be very, very surprised, chat, if we were pulling that sort of stunt. Yeah, come on, Villa. Come on, Villa. Up the Villa. No, but Garnacho coming. If Villa sign Garnacho, I don't see that having an impact on the future of Morgan Rogers at all. Yeah, Vega. Part of the reason Chelsea signed Vega and they liked him was because of his versatility, because of the fact that he could play left back, he could play centre back, and he could play in midfield if needed as well. But he was primarily signed to be backup left back to Cucurella. He got into the Portugal squad off the back of his move to Chelsea, where he was played as a centre back. He then wanted to play centre back to give him the best chance of getting into their World Cup squad. That's okay, all right. But he is leaving. But he will be leaving that summer for this summer for that exact reason. But that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's just. Right, it's just delaying the inevitable. It's just delaying the inevitable. Liverpool will get Isak next summer. You know, it's just kicking the can down the road a year. Isak's leaving Newcastle next summer. I'd say that's pretty certain. But they're just playing a long game here. Bro, I don't know what you're disputing here. It was signed as a backup for Cucurella. That's why he was signed. Bro, Ekitike is versatile. They need two attackers anyway, because Nunes and Diaz are probably going to go. Obviously, the tragedy with Jota as well leaves them a man down. So yeah, they've got room to bring in more forwards. But in regards to this Garnacho stuff, chat, it's not going away. But it appears at the moment, the main names being linked with Chelsea from an attacking perspective are Garnacho and they are Morgan Rogers. Now, whether any of those end up happening remains to be seen. Do we even need another attacker? I think that's a fair point to make, chat. Do we even need another attacker? I don't know if we do. You know, I'm not saying that we definitely don't, but the only way I can see it is you need, for me personally, if another attacker's coming in, you need something. You need someone on the left-hand side. You need someone to come in and that can play on the left, because really, right now, natural left-footed, natural left-sided player, we've only got Gittins. Bro, the Sancho replacement was Gittins. Gittins has replaced Sancho in the squad, chat. Yeah, so and this is the point that I'm making. We don't need a direct replacement for Madueke on the right because you've got Quenda coming next summer, but you do need an option on the left because there isn't really another natural player out on the left there. And I think we do need a specialist player to come in on that left-hand side. That's what I'm saying. Now, you can fully understand why the links to Garnacho are there. He's 20 years old. He's got a lot of room to develop. He's got talent and potential, and he's got Premier League experience, and he ticks all the boxes in terms of a Clear Lake side. Excuse me, of a Clear Lake signing under Chelsea. Of course he does, bro. Yildiz is never happening. Yildiz, unfortunately, is not happening for us. It just isn't. It just isn't happening for us, chat. Yeah, but you want a specialist there. Neto, I think, will play a lot on the right-hand side. And yeah, look, Neto could play on the left and can play both sides, you know. Yes, Joao Pedro can be used in a variety of positions across the front line. But I still feel we could do with one more specialist winger on that left side. Yeah, bro, and these are the questions that people seem to be forgetting. These are the questions that people seem to be forgetting, chat, is that Neto is not going to play every single game. Esteval is going to take a lot of time to get up to speed in the Premier League. Gittins is young still, going to have to adapt to the Premier League. So you are going to need someone else out there. Jackson's got AFCON as well. Yep. I don't see that happening. I'm not saying that Gittins won't play a lot, but you still need another option. You still need another option, chat. That's the point that I'm getting here. I don't think that the fact that he plays for United, I couldn't care less. It's not I mean, maybe it's a problem for some people, but for me, I'm not asked where someone's come from. You know, if you're good and you can do a job for my team and make my team better, then I'm all for it. Then I'm all for it. 100% I'm all for it, chat. Bro, Quenda's not coming till the following summer. So next season we don't have Quenda. Well, let's wait and see. If he does, great. All I'm saying is let's not have ridiculous expectations and unrealistic expectations of what Esteval can do. Bro, George is not going to be in. George will be loaned out, in my opinion. George will be loaned out, in my opinion. Well, I could say he won't be. I think it's highly unlikely that Ter Stegen is coming to Chelsea. That is what I would say. I think it's very unlikely. No, not true. Not true. Esteval will be very aware of the situation at Chelsea. You know, I don't think he's coming in and expecting to start straight away. I don't believe. Excuse me. I don't believe that to be the case at all with him. Bro, I think George will be loaned. Where's Tyreek George getting minutes next season? You only have to look at the Club World Cup. Barely played. Please tell me how George is going to get regular minutes that he needs for his development. How's he getting regular minutes ahead of Esteval, ahead of Neto, ahead of Gittins, ahead of Joao Pedro, ahead of Cole Palmer? That's just 5 straight off the bat. George needs to be playing. At that age, you need to go out and play. Bro, you cannot have a left side of Tyreek, George, and Gittins. That isn't good enough. That isn't good enough. You need George is not that level yet. Respectfully, he isn't. I hope that he can get there, and I'd love him to be a success at Chelsea. But we have to be realistic right now. George is okay. He's decent. But if you're serious about challenging, then you're going to need a lot better than Tyreek George on that left-hand side. You are. Yeah, it is. It was reported. I think it was reported in the Guardian the other week. And yeah, a loan move for Tyreek George makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, chat, to loan Tyreek George out. Go and play regular first team football at a decent level. Go and do it, because we've got to be real here. George is just not going to get the minutes that he needs, especially if Nkunku ends up staying as well. If Palmer gets injured, you've got Joao Pedro that can play as a 10. Esteval can play 10. You could push Enzo Fernandez up there if needed. If Nkunku stays, he can play there. You know, you've got plenty of options if Palmer gets injured. Yeah, bro, that would be decent. That would be decent if you send George to Coventry. Would be very good. I mean, no one's saying it's to get Garnacho, but I mean, we don't, and the thing is, we don't really need either of those players. Yeah, and KDH can do a job as well. I've got no issue keeping KDH. You know, decent player. Always gives 100%, doesn't moan about playing time. Bro, no one's saying that's what's happening. No one is saying that's what's happening. This is purely a conversation about it's going to be better, in my opinion, for George to go out on loan next season because he's not going to get regular minutes that he needs at Chelsea. But yeah, look, that's the latest on the Garnacho situation. If we move to Nicolas Jackson, because again, there's been developments on that front from what we discussed yesterday. Romano putting out an update last night saying that several clubs have started to move for Nicolas Jackson as his exit from Chelsea remains possible this summer. The deal with Milan is currently off, price too high, no intention to proceed. Premier League clubs are making initial approaches. Now, if we're being real here, chat, the only teams outside of Saudi Arabia, and I don't think Jackson is going to be interested in going to Saudi Arabia if he decided to leave, the only teams that really can financially afford a move for Jackson are clubs in the Premier League. However, I don't see where Man United have got £50 million plus to go and spend on Nico Jackson. They don't. They can barely scrape the money together for Brian and Mbeumo. So I don't see where that money is coming from for them to get Nico Jackson, which, if they're serious about getting Nico Jackson, is where a potential move involving Garnacho might come into play. That's where that might come into play. So, yeah, these are all things that we need. These are all things that we need to consider. These are all things that we need to consider, chat, is that realistically, the only two clubs in the Premier League that would get Jackson, in my view, are United and Villa. I can't see any other Premier League clubs being interested. Arsenal aren't going to go for him, neither are City, neither are Liverpool, neither are Newcastle. Tottenham aren't going to go for him either. So you look at the teams in and around, and realistically, if Nico Jackson were to leave Chelsea for another Premier League club, it's Man United or it's Villa. And that's it. That's it. There's no, in my opinion, there are no other options for him in the Premier League. No other options for him. You know, that's it. Just those two. Rodgers is versatile, yes, but he's not going. But Rodgers is not going to. Rodgers is not going to play as a number 9, though, is he? Rodgers won't play as a 9 for you. Yeah, bro, he's not going to Forest. The thing is, though, right? From what's being reported, Jackson doesn't want to leave Chelsea, and I don't think we should be getting rid of him. I don't think that Jackson is conditional on. I don't think Jackson's conditional on us getting another attacker, because reports are suggesting that Chelsea will use Delap and Jackson as 9s, and then they will use João Pedro across the front line. That's the plan, and I agree. I agree. This is very much different to the Madueke situation. I think this is different to Madueke. Jackson can offer a lot to this team in a squad capacity. He really can. He really can, chat. He can offer a lot to this team in a squad capacity. You know, I'm not saying that he should be starting every week, but he can be an important part of this squad. And when you're playing Champions League football, Premier League games, both domestic cup competitions, games coming thick and fast, you're going to need options. You are going to need options. And Jackson can be a very good squad option. Very good squad option. By the way, chat, keep smashing up the likes. Over 200 in the building. We haven't even reached 100 likes yet. Make sure you smash up the like button. Smash those likes. Get this up to 100. Mods, let me know when we're over 100 likes. And keep subscribing, by the way, guys, if you are new round here. Would greatly appreciate it. So keep smashing up the likes. Bro, Maresca doesn't hate Jackson. I don't know where that narrative's coming from, that Maresca hates Jackson. It's a bit of an odd one, but he definitely doesn't. Bro, Mark Guiu's gone. He'll be on loan. If it's a case of having Jackson or Guiu in the squad, it's a no-brainer. Look, I'm not saying that Guiu's shit, but let's be real. Jackson is much better than Guiu. Bro, Newcastle won't go for Jackson. And by the way, as well, right, you look at Jackson's contributions, yeah, and people are very quick to criticize Jackson. And yet, you know, there's some things that he absolutely needs to improve on. Absolutely needs to improve on. But if you actually look at what Jackson's contributed over the last 2 seasons, right, for someone that should be a rotation choice striker, people need to put a bit more respect on his name. Because Jackson has put up 34 goal contributions in the last 2 seasons in the Premier League. The same number as Solanke and twice as many as Rasmus Højlund. So when I'm looking at a rotation level striker, which Jackson should be for Chelsea right now, if my rotation level striker is putting up 34 GA across 2 seasons in the Premier League, I think that's pretty good. That averages out at what? 16 GA a season. Does it? No. 17 GA. So that averages out as 17 goals and assists. So that averages out, as 20 goal contributions. So 17 goal contributions per season across 2 seasons. That is not bad. He's overhated. He's absolutely overhated. Please tell me what is bad about 34 GA in 2 seasons. What is so bad about that? This is exactly it. This is exactly it. You know, Jackson is much better than people give him credit for. People refuse to acknowledge what he's good at and instead only focus on the weaknesses. Jackson's not bad. He's not bad. Yes, the finishing needs to improve, and yes, he misses a lot of chances. Agreed. Okay, but he's a good player. He's a good player. And he is a handful for defenders. Bro, you can talk about missed big chances. Fine. That doesn't mean that he's shit. It means that his finishing needs to improve. Look at how many other look at the other strikers in the league that miss big chances. All right, because Jackson wasn't the most missed big chances in the league last season. This is exactly it, bro. You know, people are so stubborn and so like they refuse to acknowledge anything that they're wrong. They'll make up their mind on something and that's it. Even if evidence could suggest otherwise, people will take a stance on a player and then they literally will not change that stance whatsoever. They got no room for any critical thinking, no room for any alternative opinion or anything like that. Again, that's just utter garbage. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? Utter garbage. There was a time last season at the start of the season where Jackson and Palmer were the most lethal combination in the Premier League in terms of setting each other up. And now you're out here telling me that Palmer hates playing with him. Let's just not be stupid here. Bro, at the end of the day, look, you know, Werner didn't do that well. Jackson as a squad player, there's no issue with it. I don't see an issue of Jackson being a squad player. I agree that he shouldn't be the first choice. I agree that he shouldn't be the first choice. But we're talking about squad player here, chap. We're talking about a squad player. How is Jackson a bad squad player to have? He isn't. He isn't. He's not bad to have as a squad player. And people that think we should get rid of him, please tell me, please tell me who would be coming in that's realistic to do a better job. Please tell me, because I'm all ears for better realistic options. So please, people that are hating on Jackson, saying he's shit, get rid of it. Get rid of him or whatever. Please tell me who is a realistic option to come in and be a rotation striker in the squad. Please tell me. Please tell me realistic options. Bro, you're happy with Guiu. Are you joking? So if Delap or Pedro get injured, you're okay with Mark Guiu playing loads of minutes? Come on. Let's not be stupid. Let's get serious for a moment. Let's get serious for a moment. Mark Guiu, who played 3 Premier League games last season. Bro, Rodgers is not playing as a centre forward. Rodgers is not playing as a centre forward. No, we're not getting a centre-back. No, we're not getting a centre-back. But anyway, Jackson wants to stay as he believes he'll rediscover his best form again next season. I've got no issue with Jackson staying as a squad player. If he wants to stay, that's fine. Where did he say that? Because I'm pretty certain before Sesko and Chelsea has been ruled out because Chelsea feel that he's too similar in style to Delap. That was what was being reported a few weeks ago. I'm not really sure how or why that would have changed. I don't see how that would have changed. And no one really wants Sesko. No one really wants Sesko. Mate, if you think he's useless, that's fine. But and look, he's let the team down in moments. Of course he has, and he's done things that have cost us. But to outright say that he's useless is just utter bollocks. It just offers such a lack of critical thinking and such a lack of ability to actually give any decent reason as to why you think he's not good. Saying someone is useless and then give basically no evidence. 34 GA in 2 seasons in the Premier League. I wouldn't call that useless. If people think that's useless, that's absolutely fine. I'm not here to convince people that they should like Jackson. I'm just saying that I think it's fair I think it's fair that there's absolutely a place in the squad for him. Exactly, and that was the whole point. That was the whole point here, is that he was never meant to be signed as the first choice striker, and yet we bought him in from Villarreal and just chucked him straight in to be a first choice forward when that was never supposed to be the plan. I agree. Broja is gone, done and dusted. He's not staying as a third choice forward. He's dreadful. He's absolutely dreadful. Pedro looks good. He does look good. But let's not get carried away after 2 games. Pedro looks good, absolutely. And he's done very, very well and made a big impact in the 2 games that he's played. But you need 3 strikers. And I'd much rather have Delap, Pedro, and Jackson than Delap, Pedro, and Mark fucking Guiu. I don't think he is. If he ends up leaving, he ends up leaving. I don't believe that Jackson will leave this summer. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. The only way he leaves is if he wants to leave. Exactly. Since when is it a bad thing to have that level of competition in your attack? I just don't get it. Why are we not backing for Ekitike? Because he wants to go to Liverpool, and reportedly Chelsea weren't actually as interested as initial reports had made out. bro, Morgan Rogers cannot play centre forward. But look, let's wait and see what happens with Jackson. I personally feel there's a space in the squad for him. Others don't. That's fine. Football's a game of opinions. But at the end of the day, I'd be surprised if he left. Chelsea won't force him out. The only way he'll leave is if he decides that he wants to leave. And I still don't think that's likely to happen. So we'll wait and see what happens. But there's no way in my opinion, there's no way that both Jackson and Nkunku leave. No way. It'll be one, and I still think it'll be most likely Nkunku. I don't see any chance in which Jackson and Nkunku both leave. It's still most likely to be Nkunku, in my opinion. And let's move on to Nkunku briefly. Let's move on to Nkunku quickly because maybe we have an update from Nizar, because he's saying that Christopher Nkunku has improved his standing at Chelsea and beyond with a good showing at the Club World Cup. However, he'll only have a squad role at Chelsea for the coming season. Now, and this is the thing, right? Nkunku does look better in the sort of the new system. Nkunku does look better. There's no denying it. He definitely looks better. But what it depends on, does he want to stay as a squad player? If he stays as a squad player, then I don't really have that much of an issue with it. However, it's a World Cup year. He's going to want to play regularly, and that isn't really going to happen at Chelsea. But is it a disaster and the end of the world if Nkunku remains and he stays as a rotation level player? And this is it. And this is it for me. If there's a better option in mind, no problem. But if there's not a better option in mind and he's happy to stay in that squad role, then I think that's a good idea. If he's happy to stay in that squad role, I think that's pretty decent. You know, bro, he didn't say most likely leaving. He didn't say that. He said there's a chance he could leave, which there is a chance he could leave. His latest words were, it remains a possibility or something along those lines. That doesn't mean most likely leaving. Yes, all good. Hope you're well. Yeah, and I suspect that KDH will stay because I think he's someone that's just happy to stay, and I disagree, but let's wait and see. Yeah, but again, it depends what Chelsea are going to want for Nkunku. I mean, I don't know how much money we're going to ask for. Any SA update? No. I mean, that's utter bollocks. I don't know who's written that, but that sounds totally totally made up. I wouldn't be surprised if Bayern did go for Nkunku, but they'd very much do it on their own terms. They'd very much do it on their own terms. But yeah, it raises an interesting point. I mean, I don't get the feeling that Nkunku will want to stay because it's a World Cup year and he'll want to go and play regularly and give himself the best opportunity to stay, to get himself in the France squad. However, the fact that Nkunku was preferred to Jackson off the bench in the final is an interesting one. He started 3 of the 7 games in the Club World Cup, appeared in 6 of the 7 games. It's going to be interesting. Barcelona, Man United and Bayern Munich have all shown interest in Nkunku, who will not be blocked from leaving should a suitable offer come in. There is, however, no rush to force him out, and he could line up alongside João Pedro, given the pair's ability to play multiple positions. I suspect the Nkunku situation will go down to the sort of the final weeks and days of the window, because I think clubs will wait it out and try and get the cheapest deal possible for him. Clubs will absolutely wait it out and try and get the cheapest deal possible. Well, anyway, guys, keep smashing up the likes. Let's get this to 150 likes, chat. Smash up the like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do, so make sure you run it up. And keep subscribing if you're new around here as well. Let's get this to 150 likes, chat. Run it up, and keep subscribing as well. Road to 20k subscribers. Every new subscriber helps. So yeah, smash up the likes and subscribe, chat. Bro, we're not getting Ekitike. He's going to go to Liverpool. It's nearly done. Liverpool's his preference. He wants Liverpool, and he's agreed terms on a 6-year deal. Chelsea are not going to go back in for Ekitike. Yeah, possibly. So yeah, look, it's interesting. Again, it depends how much money we want. I don't know what price. I don't know what price we're going to be looking at here. I don't know what price we're going to be looking at, and it will be interesting to see what sort of price we go for. Yeah, they are. They're making a lot of signings. Ekitike is too expensive. Yeah, he probably is too expensive for us. Yeah, quite possibly. Something like that could happen. He would play, yeah. He would play. I'm not saying he'd start every single week, but yeah, he would get a decent chunk of minutes. Newcastle did want Ekitike. He was definitely a target. He was definitely a target for Newcastle, and they definitely wanted him. But obviously, when you've got a choice of Liverpool or Newcastle, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? It's a no-brainer. I don't know how much he's going to cost. I suspect it's going to be closer to 70. It's going to be close to about 80, 90 million euros, I would have thought. 80, 90 million euros, I would have thought. Yeah, club's now working on an agreement worth in excess of 70 million pounds. So could be worth over 70 million all in. Bro, Luis Diaz is not going to come to Chelsea. No way. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. Bro, we're not getting Luis Diaz. No way. He'll end up going to a Bayern Munich. Could go to Saudi Arabia. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know is the answer to that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think there's a chance we'll get one more forward. Hopefully we'll get Jorrel Hato. And then I hope we get another goalkeeper. But I think at most there'll be two or three more signings this summer for the first team. There'll be 2 or 3 more signings for the first team. Bro, it's not about attracting Luis Diaz. It's about what the player wants. I don't think the player would be up for coming to Chelsea. Bro, we're not playing Football Manager here. This isn't FIFA career mode. Yeah, I think 40 mil for Nkunku is fair. But it's an interesting one with Nkunku because I was almost certain, and it was pretty much viewed as a certainty, that he'd be leaving this summer. Now, I still think he does end up leaving. However, I'm not as certain as I was before the Club World Cup. Now, the Club World Cup shouldn't change things. The Club World Cup shouldn't necessarily change things. And you shouldn't be judging players just off an isolated 6 or 7 game period at the end of a season. However, maybe it has slightly changed Chelsea's mind. This is going to have done one or two things. Nkunku will either stay in a squad role, which I don't have a massive issue with, or this has attracted more suitors and it's increased his transfer value, which is also not a bad thing. Yeah, I agree. Spanish or Brazilian keeper everyone was talking about last season. I don't know who that is. Let's just quickly go and update on the Jorrel Hato situation, because according to The Athletic, among possible remaining transfer targets are Garnacho and Rodgers. They've also made an inquiry for Jorrel Hato. Inquiry for Hato. So, yeah, look, Hato's clearly, in the thinking at Chelsea, clearly in the thinking. We have to wait and see. We've got to wait and see, chat. But we need to move fast. We need to move fast. There's no denying that we've got to move fast, chat. Because there are other teams interested in Hato, and we could easily miss out if we don't think about moving quickly. If we don't think about moving quickly, chat, we could miss out. So, yeah, again, as we discussed yesterday, Ajax quoting about 60 million. But potential suitors think they can get it closer to 40. If he reduces his wages, yeah, it could work. 80, 90 million pounds. I cannot see Villa letting Morgan Rodgers go for anything less than that. I can't see it. I cannot see him letting him go for any less than that. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. In 3 weeks. Yeah, look, Sanchez had a very good game in the Club World Cup final, no doubt about it. But yeah, we shouldn't be letting this cloud our judgment. Yeah, no, Trev should absolutely be staying. I don't think so, not from what I've seen. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Loads. I mean, Broja, Sterling, Felix, Chilwell, Vega, Disassi, a lot. Hato absolutely suits the system. Left back, can play centre back as well. good on the ball, can invert into midfield, comfortable in that position, is a good ball carrier, aggressive defender. You know, he ticks so many boxes, chap. Ticks so many boxes for us. So now it's just a case of, is he open to the move? And what sort of price are we looking at? Let's get it sorted. Yeah, bro, I wouldn't worry about us selling players. It's something we're very good at. It's something we're very good at. We've already got 52 million for Madueke, 25 for Petrovic, and 5 for Kepa. So that's like over 80 million pounds on 3 players. I don't know who's going to play. Oh, yeah, Diogo Costa. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool are reportedly interested, but they got Milos Kerkez. So unless they're planning to play him as a centre-back, which I don't think they would be, I'm not really sure why Hato would go there. I'll get to this in a sec. No, look, if Hato wants to join, then I don't see any particular issue with this deal getting done. I don't see any particular issue with this deal getting done. I mean, yeah, I didn't personally agree with it, but it's done now. It is what it is. We're going to have to move on from it. It's that simple. Yeah, we can definitely raise a lot of money from sales. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. We can definitely raise a lot of money from sales. We won't spend that much. We'll probably look at spending in the region of 40, which I think is fair. Which I think is fair for Hater. I personally feel that's pretty fair. Yeah, it does, but it's a headline figure, isn't it? It's a headline figure, and yeah, let people do what they need. Let people say whatever they want to say. You know, we don't care. We don't care. Because we got this badge on the chest for the next 4 years, so people can say whatever the fuck they want to say. Bro, we're not going to get Antonio Silva. Like, I don't know why people think these always mention these swap deals. These swap deals barely ever happen. Barely ever happen. Yeah. Well, he's not going to be at Chelsea, so it would be a loan or a permanent sale. Bro, I don't know who else you're going to get in. That's going to be that, because you need a competent level backup. You need someone who's going to, where the drop off from Cucurella is not going to be that great. That's what we need. And so I don't think it is too expensive for a backup. Yeah, look, if we could get a goalkeeper, Hato, and then let's see what attacker comes in, then yeah, that would stand us in very good stead. Very good stead. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think Connor Bradley's going to be coming anytime soon. But yeah, look, that's the latest with it. I mean, look, Sterling had an approach from Saudi last summer. Whether they're still interested or not, I don't know. They might be. But again, is Sterling open to that sort of move? I don't know. People were asking about Rodrigo earlier, and then I will get to the stadium and the shirt stuff. Let me just quickly find it. This was Matt Law talking about Ekitike. Not Ekitike, sorry. Talking about Rodrigo on a podcast. And it pretty much confirms what we sort of all would have expected. But someone did ask about him, so let's do it. Let's get rid of that. So he was saying, Matt Law was saying, he's on huge wages and wants even bigger wages to move. If it goes wrong with Rodrigo, you're stuck with an enormous problem. Chelsea already have a problem in Sterling this summer. It just doesn't fit with what Chelsea have been doing well. So this kind of sums up what I think a lot of us were expecting. Rodrigo would have been great, would have been fantastic. But we've also got to realise, chat, that we're not paying those wages. We simply aren't doing it. So that for me is pretty clear that it's not happening. Oh, bro, he's someone that's got into the development side. He signed him on a free transfer. 19 years old. Yeah, bro, he doesn't want to be a backup left back. This is what people aren't understanding. Is that he wants to be a centre back, and he's not going to be a centre back at Chelsea. Yes, big up, brother. Which ones did you get? Oh, I don't know. Qatar Airways would look decent. Riyadh Air. Yeah, that's in the works. Yeah, we do. I mean, it's absolutely crucial that gets addressed. Yeah, I think Gittins will get a decent amount of time. But yeah, I think that pretty much puts to bed the Rodrigo stuff. I think that pretty much puts to bed the Rodrigo stuff. Oh, they're done and dusted. They're gone. There's no Chelsea future. There's no Chelsea future for those guys, chat. No Chelsea future for those guys. No Chelsea future. We know that. I mean, it wouldn't totally surprise me if Rodrigo ended up staying at Real Madrid, but I also wouldn't rule out Liverpool making a move. I mean, I wouldn't say it was the main. He's definitely a target and he's someone of interest. But again, that's only going to happen if the opportunity presents itself. Kellyman, I think, is going to go on loan. But yeah, Washington and Dachi Fofana, Chelsea will desperately try and sell those two. They'll be desperate to try and sell those two. By the way, chat, keep smashing the likes. We're 30 away from 150. Let's get these likes up. Come on, guys. We're almost there. Not a million miles away. There's definitely people in here who haven't smashed the like button. So run up those likes. Let's get this to 150. And keep subscribing if you're new around here as well. It would be greatly appreciated. But let's run these likes up. Come on, guys. I mean, Kellyman's not a striker, but yeah, the point still stands. So yeah. Yeah, we do have a sell-on clause. I don't know how much the sell-on clause is, but we do have a sell-on clause for Hutchinson. Yeah, that is true. You know, if a signing's not working out, then that is something we're prepared to do. That is something we're prepared to do. We don't fuck about. We will move players on, and we'll move them on quickly. Yeah, I think that if Fofana has another injury ravaged season next season, then yeah, there's an issue there, and that would have to be looked at. Yeah, two great choices. Two great choices. Yeah, I mean, look, Shithousery in the squad is great. Shithousery in the squad is ideal, absolutely ideal. Jersey's FC Soccer Shop, bro. There's a link in the description. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off, but use the link in the description. And yeah, Jersey's FC Soccer Shop, 20% off using that code. This is what I'm wearing now, sent out to me by the Jersey FC guys. So yeah, bro, check it out. Link in the description. So yeah, look, I think, you know, just for anyone that still has dreams of Rodrigo, it's not going to happen. So let's just tuck those to bed. We can dream about that. It's free to dream, of course, but yeah, it's not going to happen because it's too expensive. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here, chat. Well, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what the outcome is on that situation. But yeah, I'm sure if whatever happens, there's a chance of that being an option, 100%. There's absolutely a chance of that being an option, for sure. Bro, Fofana's when fit, Fofana is Chelsea's best centre-back, hands down. Best centre-back. Not even close. But we just need him to stay fit. We need him to stay fit. We need him to stay fit. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, big up, big up. No, I don't think so. But anyway, let's move on to front of shirt sponsorship, because I know there were some of you that are asking about that earlier. And according to The Athletic, Chelsea are talking to up to 10 major brands and are looking at signing a long-term deal worth £60 million a year. Now that we're the world champions, now that we are, you know, on the world stage, we're back in the Champions League. This is going to bring a lot more lucrative sponsors and sponsorship deals to the table. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Chelsea not having a shirt sponsor. We will have some sort of long-term sponsorship deal lined up, I would say, before the season starts. Before the season starts, there'll definitely be some sort of deal in place. And I'd be very surprised if we didn't start the season with a front of shirt sponsor. I think that's exactly what will happen. We'll start the season with a front of shirt sponsor. Would be a great choice. I'm not hearing anything on that front, but you never know. Yeah, we do. Nah, I mean, you never know, but I don't think we're going to see a return of Damac. I don't think we'll see a return of Damac, chat. So yeah, look, we're in conversations with multiple major brands. We're looking for a long-term deal. Now that we've got world champions, now that we're back in the Champions League, the sponsors will be queuing up. So it's just a case of choosing the best deal and making that decision. And then obviously we'll then move from there, chat. We'll then move from there. So a sponsor is on its way. We've got a list of brands queuing up. Now it's just about making the right decision and choosing the best deal. So yeah, we don't need to worry about the lack of a front of shirt sponsor for too much longer, because we will absolutely get there. We will absolutely get there, chat. No No doubt about it. We will be there. Yeah, Qatar Airways have worked well. Samsung has been great in the past. I'm not sure if Samsung are going to be back in the mix or not. I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, yeah, the Autoglass days were unreal, weren't they? The Autoglass days were superb. Yeah, bro, that I don't think it works like that. I don't think it works like that, unfortunately. I don't think so. No. Yeah, no, that is legit the third kit. But obviously, yeah, we've had no official announcement yet, or anything like that. There's been no official announcement. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that is what the kit will be. But we're just waiting for official announcement and that sort of things. But the third kit's going to be unbelievable. It won't be something we've got before. It won't be something. I'd be shocked if it was something we've previously had in the past. I don't think it will be, chat. So yeah, look, that'll get done soon, and then that'll be another 60 million odd a year in the bank. So that's a positive there. There's also a little update on the stadium. Nothing major, but still worth covering anyway. Staying and redeveloping Stamford Bridge to the specifications that Clearlake and Todd Bowley are looking for is exceptionally complicated to the point of potentially being unfeasible. Yeah. As we've said before, staying at Stamford Bridge has got a lot of issues. A lot of issues. For me, unfortunately, I agree. I agree with this, you know, because you're so limited at Stamford Bridge. Because if you stay at Stamford Bridge, you're stuck at 60k. So you're basically delaying the inevitable that you will need to move at some point. So you might as well make the move now if it's possible. That's fair enough. But ultimately, bro, we're going to get left behind. We don't have a stadium representative of our status as a club. We don't. We've got the 10th or 11th biggest stadium in the Premier League. That's not acceptable. We know we're getting left behind in terms of match day revenue, in terms of those sorts of things. And that might not matter to fans, but that massively matters to the football club. And unfortunately, the best choice of action is we probably need to leave. And these are the options, really. Chelsea are considering only two options regarding the stadium: demolishing Chelsea's historic home and building an entirely new arena on the site, acquiring the large plot of land that formerly housed the Earls Court Exhibition Centre and build there. So those are the two options, chat. Knock down Stamford Bridge and you're just capped at 60k. Or you go to Earls Court, you build a multi-purpose stadium, modern stadium, and that's your new home. Those are the two options. You knock down Stamford Bridge, you're capped at 60k, and you'll have to play somewhere else for 5 years. Yeah, exactly, bro. This is what people don't understand, you know. More revenue is going to mean more room for maneuverability in the transfer market. That's the reality of the situation. Yeah, bro, Everton have got a better stadium than us. Sunderland have got a bigger stadium than us. You know, there's so many teams that have got a better stadium than us. My choice would be Earl's Court. You know, I love Stamford Bridge, but I'm also accepting that times move on and things change. Where were you sat? Where were you sat for that game? Because you've probably massively overpaid, unless you were sat in Westview. Yeah, exactly. And you Stamford Bridge for the women. Earl's Court is the best and easiest option for a number of reasons. The match day situation doesn't change for anyone. You can do all the same things pre-match. Nothing changes in that regard. Plus, you can also continue to play at Stamford Bridge whilst the stadium's being built. Do we really want to go and play at Wembley for 4 or 5 years? Is that what we're saying here? Is that what we're saying here? Because if you stay at Stamford Bridge and it gets knocked down, you have to go and play somewhere else for 5 years. We don't want to play in Wembley for 5 years, chat. Yeah. Westview, unfortunately, yeah, that's basically hospitality. You do get fucked the prices there. Bro, the same could have been said about Arsenal at Highbury. The same could have been said about a lot of teams that have moved stadiums. Moving stadiums is not like a new thing in football. Well, nothing will get the go-ahead in terms of a move unless it gets the vote from the CPO. That's the reality. There won't be anything pushed through unless it's got the go-ahead of the CPO. Look, at the end of the day, people are going to have their views on it. But ultimately, for me, if you want to, adapt with the times and go with the times, then you need to have a modern stadium. And we don't have a modern stadium. It's very, very simple. The stadium, Stamford Bridge is great, loads of history, but it's way past its sell-by date in terms of commercialism, in terms of revenue and whatnot. I don't know what a capacity at Earl's Court would be, but I imagine it would be 65, 70,000 probably. Problem is, right, you stay at Stamford Bridge, you've got 60k. Unless you're happy having 60k forever, you are at some point going to have to leave. So if you knock it down and rebuild it at 55, 60k, then you are either happy to stay there forever at that capacity, or you are basically just moving the problem multiple years down the line. Whether we like it or not, Chelsea are eventually going to have to leave Stamford Bridge. Yeah, I look, if there was the ability to expand beyond 50k, 60k for sure, there's no ability to expand any further than 60. There's none. And that's my issue with it, is that you can't expand it any further than 60. So you're just going to be capped at 60k. You're going to be capped at 60k. I don't know how much the ticket prices will be, but ultimately, the ticket prices at every single football club are going up every season. This is not a Chelsea issue or a Chelsea thing. The ticket prices go up every year at every club. So, and the answer to that is yes, they will. You know, the stadium will always be full. So yeah, look, it'll be an interesting one to see what happens here. But I don't think any decision on any of this is imminent by any stretch of the imagination. But the Emirates is good. I don't know if you've been to the Emirates, but it's a decent stadium. It's good. The London Stadium's not good, but that's because it's not a football stadium. Bro, you can still walk up the King's Road to go to Earls Court. Yeah, it is hard to get tickets. It is hard to get tickets. You know, it's not easy. Yeah, obviously. I mean, we're going to get a bigger stadium. It just depends where. So yeah, I mean, look, this is, as I said, this is not something that's going to be sorted out imminently. Not something that will be sorted out imminently. Yeah, exactly. West Ham wasn't even a football stadium. It wasn't a specific. It was the Olympic Stadium, and then they ended up using it for football. It wasn't even built for football. And that's fine. That's fine. But all I'm saying is, bro, we are probably going to leave. And we have to accept that football evolves. And unfortunately, you either go with the times or you get left behind. And right now, we are getting left behind. There's no doubt about it. We are getting left behind, chat. I love going to Stamford Bridge, but it is old. It is a bit run down. But of course, it's steeped in history and amazing memories. Yeah, bro, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. Oh, yeah. And again, you know, pretty much the only place we can, if we move, the only place you can really go to is Earls Court. That's really the only place you can go to. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But as I said, chap, there's no imminent decision on any of this. No imminent decision on any of it. Guys, keep smashing up the likes, by the way. Only 133 likes. We've got to get this to 150, chat. Keep smashing the likes. Run it up, run it up, run it up. And subscribe if you're new around here as well. Ultimately, look, the stadium needs to change. Whether it's Stamford Bridge knocked down and rebuilt, or it's going to Earls Court, we all agree that the stadium needs developing. Simple as that. I think we can all acknowledge that, chat. I think we can all acknowledge that. Bro, it's almost impossible to stop that. It is almost impossible to stop ticket touting. You can put things in place, and things have been put in place for this coming season. But it is virtually, no, what I would say, it is impossible to eliminate ticket touting completely. It's impossible. Bro, what you don't realise is that Vivid Seats, a lot of tickets that are put on there by Chelsea season ticket holders. They're put on. How do you think those tickets are appearing on there? Because people are listing their tickets on Vivid Seats. Season ticket holders are listing their tickets on Vivid Seats, as are other people that will get a ticket. I can buy a ticket to a game and I could list it on Vivid Seats. Bro, they're resale sites. That's what happens. It's the same with loads of them. You know, I'm not saying that it's right, but that's what happens. You know, Chelsea had a partnership with Vivid Seats in America on pre-season last year. They were one of the official ticket suppliers for pre-season. Yes, and it's also facts that people are selling their tickets on there as well. So it's not. It's a multifaceted issue. But unfortunately, ticket touting is going to happen at every single club, and it's impossible to completely eliminate it. But yeah, anyway, chat. Let's just have a quick look if there's anything else that's come in. If not, we will round this one out, and we will go again tomorrow. Don't think there's anything else coming. But yeah, anyway, chat. Big up to everyone that's locked in this afternoon. No, I don't agree with reselling sites. No, I don't agree with reselling sites. But for some people, that's the only way they can get tickets. No, bro, I think he will leave Madrid, but he's not coming to Chelsea. So that's what it is. But yeah, chat, going to round this one out. Big up to everyone that's locked in this afternoon. Please smash the likes on the way out. Subscribe if you're new around here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let's get this up to 150 likes. Smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new around here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Big yourselves up. Big love for all the support, chat. I'll catch you lot again tomorrow. Let's see what the next 24 hours has got in store for us. Up the Chelsea, and I'm out. Peace.